Well, the show's been doing a series of programs on Hajj crooks and Umrah crooks, and they are essentially people in our community who feed off from vulnerable people who are planning to go for Hajj and Umrah. So we have a range of people in our community that pose to be operators, take the money of other people, and they don't get to travel. Now, I've caught up with a few of them in the past. In actual fact, a number of them with a number of cases. Right now, we deal with the cases of Fasiegh Adams, who goes as Imam Fasiegh Adams. We've been calling the man to studio. He's given us all kinds of excuses why he cannot come to studio. His allegations range from car fraud hire, irregular mosque activities in terms of funding. We then have the Patels on the other hand, who claim that he's stolen their money for Umrah, and we have some other guest who says he's stolen their money for Hajj. Recently we tried catching up with him, but he's gone on Umrah without having paid all these people back. He says that it's all a conspiracy against him. I beg to differ. We've invited Fasiegh Adams onto the show and he's refused to come. If you recall from a previous episode, I've invited Shahid Stakala onto the show and he's refused to come, wanting 150,000 rands to come onto the show. Now we can get all mishy-mashy about all of this and look at each other and say, you say this and he says that, so it becomes a he said and she said story. Today, I've asked people to come into studio to put down their evidences. We've invited Fasiegh and given him the right of reply to give his evidences. He refused to come. However, I must tell you what the studio has decided to do. And that is, we have an empty chair in studio. If Fasiegh Adams wants to join us at any time during this episode, I'm free to invite him onto the show. Our Skype lines are open. My phone lines are open for the studio. So Fasiegh can talk to us anytime and refute some of the allegations against him. I start off with car rentals and how that all went wrong. Riyad Sutria is someone involved in car rentals and he has a story to tell. He's not coming onto the show, but I'm going to read you a message that he sent the show and also show you some of the documents, the supporting documents in terms of his particular case. He sent me a message and he said, Fasiegh Adams stole 18,500 out of my car hire business, the idiot, and I have all the proof, but when you go to cops it becomes a civil matter. I'm a small business owner that suffered by a scheme. Well, I sat down with Riyad in my office just before the show to ask him exactly what happened. We've got those documents on screen right now for you. Riyad says that Fasiegh Adams claims to go collect money around the country, then hires cars, makes a deal with a car rental company that he will not pay them until he gets back and pays them from the money that is rented, that is managed to collect. However, Riyad Sutria had to run after Fasiegh Adams for weeks because the car was gone and the money was gone. He arrives at Fasiegh's house to find out that the vehicle is there. Amina Wahi, Fasiegh's wife, then signs the following document that you see on screen right now and says and takes responsibility for the fact that the balance of the 18,500 will be paid. Now, Riyad says that he's a small business and cannot take such knocks. My next guest is a lady that worked in the office at Umrah Connect with Fasiegh Adams, and she has a lot to tell. We meet the lady that worked directly in the office at Umrah Connect with Fasiegh Adams. Now, I ask you the question, how much closer to the truth can you get if you have someone directly from the office that's about to tell you what you need to know? Waida, it's been a long journey for us. We've been talking to you for a while. Thank you for coming onto the show. Now, I just in the break said to you that Fasiegh has gone overseas and he left all these people, and you said to me that he's gone on Umrah in Johannesburg. I had to have a laugh at that. You're saying that he definitely cannot get into the kingdom.
That's what I know.
You worked with the man. Did you see anything at the time, or did you start feeling something was not right here?
Well, when I couldn't have access as administrator and receptionist to certain files in the office, things didn't click to me.
So you got cut off from...
Yeah, I couldn't go into their finances. The office manager, Shamil Abbas, had access to a flash drive, which was very personal. At a time when the printer in the office wasn't working, he went down to the internet cafe, and me asking him why I couldn't go and print that statement, all he said to me was that it's personal. He came back with the statement, and he was in office with Imam that morning for about 2 to 3 hours behind closed doors. I was at front desk and I couldn't hear anything.
So in the time we were dealing with the Patel's cases, I know the Patels were calling, they paid lots of money to go with the family. They weren't sure where they stand with you. I think they clearly know where they stand with you right now. And the point was that we were watching and monitoring all of that going on. Was there a time that you really felt, wait, something is just amiss now?
When Naeem had to come down to sort things out, it wasn't on. I just knew that time that something is not right, because usually people traveling out, well, I've never traveled, but as far as I know, people don't need to come into office and sit down and have their things sorted out.
Are you aware that the Patels have still, up till now, not received their money?
Yes.
I mean, in my view, it's unthinkable, because people save lots and over lots of time for that money. And for them not to travel is obviously devastating. Imam Fasiegh has obviously, and I refuse to call him Imam Fasiegh for viewers at home, I think we need to get brutal about the truth. And Imam is somebody that leads the community. Clearly, this man cannot lead the community. So we find a situation where you in the office, you start seeing what's going on, you start pulling out of that environment. Did anything come to you after you left the environment? Because what tends to happen to people is that when they sit outside the environment and they now exclude themselves from a situation, they put 2 and 2 together and they say, oh my God, what about that and what about this?
Well, there were things. We closed our office in December. On the 28th of December, Shamil told me, we're closing office, we only reopening on the 15th of January. But in all the time that the office was supposed to be closed, Shamil was in and out of office. And apparently things were going forward with the Patel case and the Anthonys. And there was a time when I asked Shamil, because they were supposed to leave on the 30th, according to what I know, have they left? And Shamil said to me, they're leaving the 2nd of January, and every time there was a date extended. The 15th of January, the morning, I get a message from Shamil saying that we're not opening office, I mustn't come in, because he hasn't had a break, he's taking a break, we're opening the following week. Going back the 22nd, I've been told there's no funding to pay me further. Stay away, I don't have a job.
So if there's no money to pay you further, then how on earth were they planning to pay back the money to, and making all these legal promises to pay back all these people? How were they planning to do that?
Like I said to you, my amount is small fry compared to what they owe the other.
We're talking about thousands and thousands, and we're talking about cases against Fasiegh Adams that's coming up for a long, long time, and cases we're going to talk about soon. You mentioned Shamil Abbas. Do you think that he is as guilty and complicit in the Patel's matter?
Yes.
You believe that he's complicit in the matter? He says that he's not.
According to my knowledge, he's a signatory on the accounts.
He says he's the office manager, and Fasiegh pulled him a job. Do you believe that he is complicit? He's part and parcel of it all.
Part and parcel of whatever's happening.
If Fasiegh Adams was sitting in front of you right now, what would your message be to him? Knowing that you're following the media, to know that things have exploded with cases from car hire fraud, collection drives that have gone wrong, people's Hajj money is missing, Umrah money is missing, and everyone's saying that we're dealing with an outright thief that needs to be taken out of society. What would your message be to him right now, knowing that you worked with a man and you had first-hand experience?
Well, like you say, firstly, we cannot, or even myself, refuse to call him an imam. You don't have to be a person of high and mighty caliber to know what is right from wrong. And his day will come, that's all I've got to say, because you can get away on earth, you're not going to get away up there.
I want to ask you a question. Have you met me in person before?
No, I haven't.
Never. He says that this is all a conspiracy, that we've put all of these issues up against him. What do you have to say to that?
Not at all.
I certainly have nothing to say for that. Most of the people coming in today,
exactly.
I've never seen them before. We have victims. We have victims that cry with us on the phone. Lutfia Patel, her kids, and a number of other people which we'll talk about as we go down the line. What's your message to them?
What would my message be? I've been in personal contact with one person whom I've met at Umrah Connect on the day that I started working there, Auntie Dura Latahang. Auntie Dura is a revert to Islam, and if we have people like Fasiegh who claim to be imams, what example are they to people who are reverts? What are they showing people about Islam? So just to be wary about it.
And then we sit as Muslims around pointing fingers at everyone around the world that has an onslaught against Islam. And I'm not saying that that's not true, but maybe the rot is right inside. Exactly. And if we cannot attend to the rot right inside, then what are we planning to look at the world and say that you guys are calling us them? The rot is right inside.
Exactly.
And I know Dura Lataghan does come onto the program because she felt that she wants to talk about her case, because she too has saved money for a long time. And it's absolutely unfair. We thank you for coming onto the program and telling us and being brave, because by you being brave, we are helping people in the future to look out and not make the wrong decisions again. When we come back from the break, we talk to somebody who says that the information that he has is explosive. He too has never met me in person. So you think about this. Is this conspiracy or not? Welcome back. Ubaidullah Slamang, by real name and known as Dula Slamang, commonly in Cape Town, says that he has a lot to talk about. Now I want to find out about that, but I want to ask you something before we start. I want to read your message and ask you what you think about this. Wasima Jaffer says, and you can see this on screen right now, says, I hope Fasiegh gets his day really soon. Does Fasiegh think going to the Holy Land will make this go away? He owes my parents their Hajj money since December last year. I am disgusted that this man still continues to rob the innocent of their money and still lies. How does he sleep at night? Tula, I want to ask you something. When you hear a testimony by somebody like Wasima Jaffer that's posted that on my Facebook, what comes to your mind?
It comes to my mind that he cannot be in the Holy Land. I think that he's up in Johannesburg.
Do you think Wasima is making a false allegation, or do you think this is true?
No, not at all. That's the truth. I can believe anything from him.
So let's rewind the tape. You, more than anyone else, we found has had previous links, and some people point fingers at you for all those things. But you would know more than anyone else because you spent some time. You want to talk about that time, because I think that you are in a very primary position to tell us exactly what went down.
Okay. I met Fasiegh a long time ago, and I met him under these circumstances, whereby he borrowed money, issued me with a check. The check has bounced, and
wait. That's how you met?
That's how we met, yes.
And there wasn't a red light on your head going off saying, emergency, watch out?
Look, at the end of the day, none of us are too good to become bad, or too bad to become good. Every person needs a fair share. And then I've also seen all the sterling work he can do, that he's capable of doing, and that prodded me to look past the bad and basically try and assist him. Much to my detriment, though. Yes, I've seen the bad side of Fasiegh, I've seen the good side of Fasiegh. What I'm here, I'm not trying to paint a picture of how good the man really is. What I'm trying to paint a picture here is to be careful of the man, because he's an opportunist. At the flip of a coin, the guy can turn from good to Pure bad.
Do you think it's all about the money?
With Fasiegh it is.
It is all about the
All
money.
about the money. All about the money.
So the minute money's in the deal, the devil is out, and it's going to happen.
But he's very meticulous in what he does. He will always tell people, I'm not in charge of the money, I'm not handling the money. However, his wife is handling the money. His wife is a signatory on the account. He walks around with the card.
Are you referring to Amina Wahi?
That's correct. Amina Wahi is Fasiegh Adams' wife. She's also the principal of Madrasatul Ulum. She's also a teacher at Madrasatul Ulum. And there's no Madrasatul Ulum.
Are you saying that there is no Madrasatul Ulum?
The madrasa.
But Madrasatul Ulum is advertising for all kinds of projects online.
Madrasatul Ulum was established or used to be at Moira Road at the Solahana. Then all the pupils moved across the road to Auntie Rahmat, to her place. And then she was teaching the children. They had no kids. And whenever the Maulanas came down to do the imtihan, he would get his own children or his grandchildren to come and sit in with Amina Wahi as the teacher, and then he would hoodwink these people. That is what he did.
When you say that he would hoodwink these people, can you give us an example?
Okay. As I said, all his children will be at the madrasa. And then the Maulanas will come and do the imtihan like an inspector coming around, inspecting how far they've gone or whatever on this syllabus. Then they will see all these children there, thus qualifying him to get a letter of recommendation to collect up in Johannesburg. And that's how it used to be done. That's what he did. Until all the children moved away, because people started taking the kids away from there. And then they put their kids opposite the road, there by Auntie Rahmat. And she thought, she still has. She's got tons of kids. He doesn't have any.
When did it dawn on you, or when was that defining moment where that light eventually went on, where you said to yourself, you know what, something is just not right?
Okay. It happened with a few friends of mine that came in that wanted to sponsor the roof. The roof was leaking.
Wait. Tell me this is the roof story. Because I've been hearing...
No. It's not the original roof story.
Oh, is there another roof story?
This is the roof story before the roof story.
Oh my God, the roof is just about to blow off again.
They came in there. I would not mention their names. I doubt they would want me to mention their names. We are currently neighbors now in our business here in Athlone. He's my neighbor, him and his wife. They came in there and they wanted to know the amount of money that would be needed to repair the roof. Now we have repaired the roof. My kids and my nephew have repaired the roof because we do waterproofing. Then they came along and they were prepared to put on a brand new roof. And he was very eager for the money. And then I told myself, hang on a second, there's red lights here. I went to them and I told them, I sat in their home.
I'm happy that you said red lights, because I placed one red light on your head and you saying red lights.
Red lights.
Okay,
red
so
lights, honestly, red lights. I went to their home. They live in Rylands. I sat down with them. I apologized and I told them, look guys, whatever you do, do not give money. You can buy the material, you can put people there to put this material onto the roof, but do not give money. But if I am you, I would withdraw, because we are friends and I wouldn't want to break my friendship because of a few bob that you are spending there. These people are quite affluent. They then heeded my warning. He was very upset with me, so much so that we parted ways at that point. However, Fasiegh got into a bit of trouble again, and then I stepped in and I said, look, come, I will assist you this time, because the people really wanted him out. And that's how we got back together again. And only for him to bite me in the end. And that's how I lost my watch that was given to me as a present for his rental that wasn't paid. And that is part of that 8,000 Rand with the Strand Muslim Society. That money's went there.
Are you saying that Fasiegh Adams cannot be trusted with a cent?
I would say I wouldn't trust him with a cent with a little hole in it.
So not even a broken cent?
No.
Is there anything less than a cent? I'm not sure. But Are you saying today, when we look at all of this, that yes, we learn life lessons, things happen to us, and we traverse journeys with people, and then afterwards we pick up, oh, what's going on, X, Y, Z. But 1 or 2 incidences, Dula, is fine. But did you realize by now that the amount of incidences we have coming in and the reports we're getting as media is probably standing roof height in my office? Do you realize how many cases are coming in?
Yes, I am. I am aware of it. I've seen it.
Do you think that that's all a conspiracy, or this is real?
No ways. I've seen it on social media. Yes, I've been to the Holy Land a few times. I've never, ever, ever traveled with Fasiegh. Neither did I buy a ticket from him. Neither was I ever present whenever he spoke to people about Umrah or Hajj. I distanced myself from it.
If someone says today that Fasiegh Adams has a package on to go to Umrah and Hajj, would you recommend that?
Never.
What would happen?
Because the people will lose their money.
Well, the Patels say they lost their money. Numerous other people, Dura Lateghan.
I know about Dura Lateghan case, yes.
The lady who I just spoke about now, Wasima, she's talking about her parents' Hajj money that's gone. When will it all stop?
The only time it will stop is when he is stopped. Fasiegh, as I said earlier, Fasiegh is an opportunist. If Fasiegh knows anything about you, the sole of your shoe is broken, he will manipulate that situation to his benefit.
But then,
to such an extent, sorry, that you would actually want to step aside. I mean, the guy would dig up dirt where there's no dirt, and he will manipulate you. That's what he does to everyone that tries and grabs hold of him or tries and puts him in a corner. He comes out very manipulative. He even uses people to testify against you, and that's how he works.
He has a habit of quoting the Quran to people that find themselves to be the victims of these cases. He quotes them and gets people to phone them to protect them from themselves. What's your thoughts around that?
Once again, it is a situation where somebody is using the holy words and using words given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to his benefit. The minute you quote him something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, for example, take even the Bible says, thou shalt not steal. No. That doesn't work with him. It falls on deaf ears. During the time with the guy that he mentioned ran away with his money, he alleges ran away with his money, Khusnud Reddy. Khusnud Reddy didn't take anything from him. They were up in Saudi, and when they came back, this is the discussion that they had in front of me, whereby he took his card, his debit card, gave it to the Arab, to the hotelier, to keep as guarantee that that man will get his money. To date, that man wasn't paid. The result is, Fasiegh cannot go there because they're waiting for their money. So obviously, he will look for some reason or the other. And if he is out there in the Holy Land, I swear that really, it's really a very, very, very big chance he is taking.
How is it possible that so many people will launch scathing attacks on one individual and there cannot be any smoke around this individual? So I fail to understand Fasiegh's logic by saying that he is not stealing. All these people are making up stories. I have failed to get that. And I've asked till to date, can you send me one piece of information or paper that says that you are innocent? To date, I'm waiting for that. Do you know that we invited him to the show today to sit right opposite you and refute what you are saying?
Correct. I know that he was invited. You have informed me that you invited Fasiegh, and Fasiegh needs to come and defend whatever I have to say. To date, Fasiegh never ever rocked up. He ran away from you. He called you all sorts of names, which he called me as well. He had his son-in-law bring up some allegations against me and told me to back off, which I did not. I refused to back off because the truth needs to be told. Yes, you did invite him. You didn't only invite him once. I know for a fact that you invited him on numerous occasions. He didn't rock up. We are still waiting on him.
You are somebody that knows Fasiegh for a while. In your opinion, going forward, if the media does not pick this up, if the authorities and the victims do not go to the courts and where they need to go in the first place, because we as media have no jurisdiction if a victim does not go through the courts and through the SAPS. If we're not doing what we do you believe Fasiegh will sit back and say, you know, I'm not going to do this again? Or do you think he'll continue? I know it's a very strange question. But
on numerous occasions, when we were talking on social media, I told you the guy is a joke. And this is the joke. If nobody takes him on, he will not stop. He's a kleptomaniac.
You are saying that
he steals from Allah.
You are saying that he's serial.
Of course,
he's
serial. You cannot get away from it. Everything. It's the case of the fairy tale, the wolf in sheep's clothing. It's exactly it.
Do you think that he uses the mask of religion to do what he does? Because he's tried it with me in terms of you are a Muslim before you in media. What he's effectively trying to say to me is, how can you going to expose me? But I've got the flip idea. The flip idea is I need to expose people to protect our people. That's my thinking. So if he's got some cockeyed thinking, and which it is, he's got cockeyed thinking to think that he's going to keep me silent, not speak on the show, and expose the truth, because that's what I will do, so that we can protect innocent people. But the point is, do you believe that he uses religion to get away?
Yes, he does. His own secretary. One day he used her, or he asked her to do something for him pertaining to some people, some Mu'tamirins. I went up to her and I said, you know what? It's going to come to pass that one day you will sit in front of the authorities and answer for this, because that people's money will be gone. The lady listened, the lady abstained, and till this day he's cross for that particular person as well. Why didn't she take up his offer of being part of his Umrah and Hajj scam? To be honest with you, Faizal, if Fasiegh is left alone, Cape Town won't be safe.
How long was the community expecting this menace of a behavior to continue unabated until they were going to speak up? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Fasiegh is very eloquent. He uses and chooses words very well. He has the ability to walk into a mosque packed with people to capacity and talk to you about molecular biology. I mean, seriously. This is how good the guy is. So when you confront him, he will tell you, no, I've never done anything like, I don't handle the money. Where have I handled? Show me where's my signature.
And I suppose he's always innocent.
He is always innocent.
Anything. You know, Tula, what saddens me is one aspect, in conclusion with you, is that we've had reports that his parents were good people and that he comes from a good family. Do you have any comment around any of that?
To be honest, his parents, even some of his wives, are very good people. His children
but is it not then an abomination
people
to do this?
You know?
His mom passed on some time ago. Is it not an abomination to take their legacy forward? Should people not strap him down and say, guys, sorry man, this needs to stop?
You know, it's a typical scenario of Cain and Abel. Wherever you go, you do have families with fantastic siblings, fantastic parents. Then you would find one person that would be the pinnacle of evil, you know. And I'm not saying that Fasiegh is the pinnacle of evil. Fasiegh, I believe, in my heart of hearts, and this is my opinion, that Fasiegh is the pinnacle of thievery. That's what he is.
Well, it's one of the pigs that plugs into evil in any case. I mean, stealing is evil behavior. And in the end of the day, my greater concern is that there are still people today that have not heard about these things and continue to book and lose their money. The Patels, who we talk to next, talks about that and how they went in circles for weeks and months with empty promises, and that continues.
If it's not going to be stopped, it will never stop.
Dula, thank you for coming into the program. When I
Pleasure.
come back, we talk to the Patels in another city, Johannesburg in South Africa, and they talk to us about what happened, the promises, and all that's happened. My mind right now, I'm blown away. We are sitting with many people that have contacted the show to say these are the things that happened to us. Fasiegh Adams, I know that you're watching the show, and I must be honest with you, I'm shocked. The fact that you would sit and call other people names, you point a finger at everyone else but yourself, and the evidence is stacked up against you. I still wait, and I challenge you till today to come back and show me that the reverse is true, that you're not guilty of fraud, theft, corruptive behavior, lying and manipulating people, because now we understand what we call beta behavior. And beta behavior is simply people that will use and abuse everyone to their ends and make other people look like the problem. Now, this testimony is coming from people that's in the midst of Fasiegh Adams, and if there's anyone else that has anything else to say, you can contact the show and tell us on another episode, which I'm prepared to do with Fasiegh, if he dares come on the show. Welcome back from the break. Before the break, we saw shocking and astonishing testimonies from a range of people that says Fasiegh Adams is a fraud. Now, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we're looking at the evidences presented in studio, and I must be honest with you that I'm sitting in disbelief as we talk to more people. Right now, I speak to Lutfia and Naeem Patel from Johannesburg. In my opinion, I think that they've launched the impetus on these cases, saying enough is enough. We've been looking at these cases that popped up and the issues surrounding the Fasiegh Adams cases. You in particular have gone to us as media and reached out to the show to say that you want to tell your story. What brought you initially to that point?
Okay, so first and foremost, we actually picked up Umrah Connect late last year in October, November, and we were happy with the itinerary. Reason being, they offered a Petra tour, which was something different. So we were actually interested in using their services, and that's when we decided to actually go ahead and use them. And we gave a deposit of 60,000 rand, which was paid into the accounts end of October.
Into whose account did you pay that 60,000?
So it was paid into a Umrah Connect international account.
This receipt was acknowledged by Fasiegh Adams' wife, Amina Wahi, and she acknowledged it. We've got paper trail showing.
Does she even work for? Does she work for Umrah Connect?
Initially, she was, according to her words, she was an agent for getting clients for them. And towards the end of our term, or towards our date of departure, she just disappeared. We were told the cell phone was stolen.
Yeah, conveniently, but one of the things that Fasiegh says in previous media discussions is that you cancel the contract. What's your thoughts about that?
So I think that's something that I've been wanting to clarify on this to everybody, because everybody keeps on saying that we cancelled. Whether we had cancelled or not, by the time our due date to leave was on the 22nd of December, on that day there was no flight book, there was no visas.
Wait. Let's just take it one step there, Lutfia. You're saying that you were supposed to fly on which date?
On the 22nd of December.
And when did you realize that there is no booking?
On 4 days before.
4 days before that. So either the 18th or 19th.
So the 22nd was a Friday on that Monday. So basically 4 days before that.
Now, clearly, if you don't have an international booking before 4 days prior to departure, we see a bomb coming along already.
Correct.
So you then at that point knew that trouble was coming.
But regardless, we still at that stage agreed to go ahead. Naeem arranged visas with his friend. Naeem flew at our expense to Cape Town and tried to secure things. We said to them, let's do this. We were still willing to do this. And we said to them, by the Thursday, the day before departure, if things don't come right, can we all agree then that we have to cancel? There's no choice. So I don't understand why everyone is saying, especially Fasiegh, that we cancelled. I don't understand that.
It's also acknowledged that the only reason we cancelled was because of his poor services.
Exactly. I mean, if we didn't cancel, we weren't going anywhere on that Friday.
Well, I must be honest with you.
There was no tickets.
You guys seem fairly relaxed at that point, knowing that it's 4 days away, and Naeem takes the liberty of flying to Cape Town, I would have booted the guy out that time already. So I must admit that it's a sign that you were really willing to do this. And you were probably doing everything in your power to make sure that this actually happens.
Correct, yes. We were actually, in other words, we were actually assisting them in their job description.
Okay.
For us to basically fly there and get the visas, you know, sit with Shamil and try and see where to get tickets, that is not our responsibility. You know, I mean, then we could have just did our own Umrah visa.
When did you realize? When did you realize that your Umrah trip and your flights was literally and figuratively simply pie in the sky?
To be honest with you, since the day we made deposit, we had a feeling that this company, there's something not right with them. So it's been since day one, since the day I made deposit.
But I think when Fasiegh flew down to Johannesburg and, you know, came into our home, he sat with my kids. He, you know, talked to them about the Islamic history, and, you know, he spoke to us about what will we be doing in the itinerary. I think a part of that calmed us down a bit. That, you know, I mean, okay, inshallah, this is going to happen, you know. I think at that point...
And you don't think that that's the reason he came down, and that was to calm you down?
That was...
What else would he come for?
The only reason he came down to Johannesburg to meet us was because 2 days prior to that, I actually called Shamil and threatened to cancel. So that's the reason, that's the only reason he came to meet us and collect our passports.
Do you believe that... Now, Shamil Abbas's name has also come up previously on with a previous guest who believes that Shamil is complicit in all of this and party to all of this. Do you have the same belief?
To be honest, I think they're all working together. They're all, to be honest, one is giving an answer, the other is giving a different answer. So at the end of the day, Imam Fasiegh has taken full responsibility. Is he claiming to be the CEO? So at the end of the day, all responsibilities do lie with him.
So what subsequently happens? The day comes and you didn't leave. What was the mood at home?
Faizal, I cannot even explain to you the emotional roller coaster.
Of course, it's planning. It's you.
And this has been something that we've been saving for months. And the kids knew about it from day one. You know, we're going to take you for Umrah. We're going to show you what you've been learning in Madrasa, Islamic history. So they've been aware of that we were going to go from day one. And they've been counting down. For us, you know, it was extremely emotional to then say to my kids, you know what, sit down. This is unfortunately not going to happen.
Are you saying?
My kids are small. I mean, my daughter's 7, my son is 10, and I mean, obviously they had a lot of questions. But mommy, why? But daddy, why? But mommy, he was here in our house. He ate with us. He told us where's he going to take us. They couldn't understand, you know, why were we saying these things. I think for us personally, emotionally as a family, it's been draining. It's been draining. It's a lot of money. It's not just petty cash. We've worked hard for it, and it's also a dream that has been shattered.
Do you believe that Fasiegh Adams planned to actually pull off a job with your money? Do you think things?
The amount of time we've spoken to him on the phone, the amount of time we've WhatsApped him. To be honest with you, it seems that he did actually call us.
Has it dawned on you that? Has it dawned on you that you are part of a group of people that now has come forward saying, "Hey, but this has been happening for years, and when is it going to stop?" Are you aware that you're part of that group?
No, I mean, you know, initially when he came to our home, he even mentioned a few places. He says to us annually, he comes to Benoni and, you know, he goes to places to collect charitable, you know, for money for charity. And, you know, everyone's like, no, we know him because he comes with these papers showing, you know, organizations, and we give him money. So people know him on that basis. And I think that's why we initially also said, okay, so he's known, you know. It's just after we came to you with our story that I think even we've been approached by people saying, you know what, he did this to us, he did this to us, he did, you know, every day there's someone new coming up to say, no, he's an old fraudster, he's been doing this for years. When we were looking into researching him, surprisingly nothing came up. It was almost as if everybody was just taking a backstage.
Well, you bet if you go now onto Google and start Googling his name, it's all going to start coming up. And that is because people like yourself have decided to start talking up. You're talking about a community in Mitchell's Plain that is maybe not very adept to the internet and all of that. So these stories don't get out there. But it is a failure, in my opinion, as a community, not to talk up and allow other people to get robbed. And therefore, I applaud you for what you're doing in terms of trying to stop the bleed, as I always put that. How do you feel now, knowing that numerous promises were made on radio, on a telephonic call that we had, to say that before I, Fasiegh Adams, leave for Umrah, I'll pay the Patels back? How do you feel now, knowing that he slipped through Cape Town Airport? We're not sure whether he's sitting in Johannesburg under your noses, or if he's sitting really in Saudi Arabia. But how do you feel that the date has come and you know what? You are being ignored or even blocked?
It definitely angers us. So we came to a decision where we gave him a chance until to pay end of March. And then only to hear that he's gone for Umrah, actually made us more angry. So we've actually decided that we're actually going to fight him even more harder to get our money back. Yes.
And not just, I think, with the law, I think also with the community awareness. I think at this point we both decided to actively get involved in making community aware of not just Fasiegh, but all other con artists. I literally don't want anybody to go through what we have gone through. It's been very emotional on the kids as well. They can sense things are not right. And yeah, I think actually we've got a lot of anger in us, and this is not an emotion that we display in our home, but we are really angry because this was our dream. And the thing is, for me, it seems like he took our money and he's gone to the Holy Land with our money. This was supposed to be us, and he's used it.
Do you feel violated in any way?
Definitely.
In every way.
This actually has affected our relationship in ways you can't believe. Even with our kids. When I actually flew to Cape Town, they actually thought I was going very far.
Shame, my kids were so traumatized that day because they're not used to it. You know, we were very close-knit family. We're always together. If we're not together at work or school. And they kept saying to me, Mommy, but where's Daddy? Why is he there? Did you check on him? Is he okay? It was traumatizing. They didn't know if he's going to come. Is Mommy, are they going to do anything to Daddy? You know? For us, it was emotional on all levels. And I do feel violated. I feel that he's literally, till now, he's come into our home and he hasn't left. We're constantly dealing with him. He's like a regular name in our home.
Our kids actually sing his name.
Our kids actually, if they're irritated with each other, they sort of use his name. It's an anger thing against each other. It's not right, but I mean...
Like I said, his name is quite well known in our home.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's the same like the Stakala name in Cape Town. It's known and it's associated with fraud and theft. And I'm sure Fasiegh Adams is associated with the same thing. And our job is to educate the public about that. Looking at some of the aspects around the day the money went away and the other people that played a role here, the name Amina Wahi has come up a few times. Are you familiar with the name?
In the interim, I thought she was actually a receptionist or someone that was working within the offices for Umrah Connect. I actually heard from someone else that she was related to Imam Fasiegh, and that's she's married to Imam. And then, so her name was there in the beginning. Until today, I'm still trying to get contacted to find out exactly what transpired, what our money, into which account it went into.
Because her name is on that acknowledgement.
Because her name is on the acknowledgement letter, and then Imam states that she's no more working with the company, and we should deal with her directly.
And I think about 3 or 4 days after we paid, her phone got stolen.
Yeah.
So when we eventually got hold of Fasiegh, we said to him, I mean, how do you think we feel? We just paid you 60,000 rand, and her phone gets stolen.
I don't think the phone was stolen. I think your money got stolen. So you might have made a mistake by telling you that. It's your money that got stolen, not the phone. And that's very clear. You know, what shocks me and makes me think about something is the fact that, like the two of you are sitting there, I very often come across elderly couples who don't have the ability that you have, and that is to sit on Skype with me from one city to another, to go onto Facebook, call the media out, have the energy to fight this battle and continue this for the good of life. They just don't have that energy, and therefore they retreat into a back room. Their life savings are gone. They come from a community that sits in Mitchell's Plain, that sells donuts on the road on a weekend and takes 15 years to save that money. And it really pains me to sit in an episode thinking that that is the reality of the victims of people like Fasiegh Adams, Shahid Stakala, and of late Al Mujahideen and Ishaq Qasim. They're all in the same boat. When you as a customer goes out and gives somebody 20,000 Rand to deliver a service, you were supposed to get that service. If not the service, your money was supposed to be refunded. There is no story in between. There is no blurred line. The light is either on or off, and in this case, the light is off. Are you aware of the fact that you might not get your money back?
Unfortunately, I think that reality is sitting there. I mean,
we have come to acknowledgement that it is a possibility. But we're going to fight it until...
And I think we also want Fasiegh to know that regardless, we are not going to let him go. Even if it means us constantly, interfering with him or messaging him or getting to him.
And you have the right to do that. And you have the right to do that.
Community in every way. I will do that. I don't feel it's fair for what he's done to us. I think he needs to feel what it feels like. And like you're saying, I mean, there's so many people that are not in our position to do this. But we are. And maybe there's a reason that we've been placed in this position to go out there and educate the community. And I don't want anyone going through that. So we're going to do whatever we can to make sure that nobody is a victim.
In a recorded telephone conversation between you and Fasiegh Adams and some other mediator, who I'm not going to mention, I recall listening to that recording, and Fasiegh Adams says to you that the money can be returned, but you cannot return his honor, and that's something that you've taken. What's your thoughts about that statement?
So, to be honest with you, Faizal, we've given him enough time. We've given him the chance to actually return our money. It's not something that we've given him a week or two. We've given him almost 6 months to return our money.
Naeem, you are way too good of a guy. That would not be my answer. My answer is he doesn't deserve honor. I'm sorry to say that. That's what it is.
A lot of family members is actually telling us that why we're not actually taking the next flight to Cape Town. So we've actually practiced a lot of sabr between the two of us, and we've given him that opportunity. And to be honest with you, this is the only way we can actually take it forward, through the media and through
and to save future victims.
To clarify that, I don't think we are doing any defamation of character as he is claiming. We are literally stating the facts. You did not provide a service, fact. You did not return our money, fact. There's no defamation of character, so you can go ahead and do that.
I would like to address my audience for 1 minute here so that you understand what defamation of character is at the same time. Someone like Fasiegh Adams cannot call the defamation of character card. And let me explain to you why. Defamation of character, as per example, would be somebody sitting on the side and you're accusing that guy of having an affair with Lady X, but they're not having an affair, for example, and I still wouldn't expose affair matters in any case. Defamation of character is not when someone has taken your money, didn't deliver the service, because then you cannot go to any of the chain stores and say that, go on to Hello Peter and say that you guys didn't deliver service to us. Then that company could come after you and say that's defamation of character, you're damaging our brand. That's not true. The fact of the matter is, like Lutfia is saying, and that is that the man took their money, he didn't deliver the service, and now he's disappeared. So what left is left for people like the Patels. Clearly some action needs to be taken to protect the innocent and the future victims. I have one thing to throw on your table, and that is, if Fasiegh Adams was sitting right next to me here, and believe me, we've got an open chair that we've kept for Fasiegh, and up till the last minute, invite him to join us on the show. The Skype lines are open, the studio lines are open. He can call us at any time. We've kept his chair open in the studio right till the end of the episode, because we've given him the right of reply. If he was sitting right next to me right now, what is your message to him?
That's a bit of a tricky one, especially what we've been through. To be honest, is first and foremost is to return our haq, our truth, what is being promised to us, and then try and save others from and not let actually anyone else fall into the same trap that we're falling into.
Name you are the control. You are the control. Yeah, you are the control in this relationship. I saw Lutfia breathing harder and steam coming out of the ear. What's your message, Lutfia?
I was actually going to say I was glad that he's in your studio and not here in front of me, because that would, yeah. But I mean, Faizal, even just bringing back to your defamation of character, I mean, we actually have been begging him to come onto studio with you, to saying, okay, we are saying this, and here, open platform, defend yourself. You know, how many times have you postponed your show for this, to say to him, Fasiegh, please come onto the show, please come onto the show. Yeah, and if he was there, I think, yeah, I would have to really control myself.
The irony of this is that when I spoke to the producers and we put this together and we discussed this for weeks, we looked at the balance situation, because we said that the people who the person says committing the fraud comes into studio and puts the counter evidence on the table, and that was supposed to happen. But when someone ducks and dives from studio, dodges, and explains why they shouldn't be coming, and all these people, this is all a conspiracy, I'm not into all of that, I must be honest with you. I'm really not into that. That's not what I do here. What I do is to put parties on a table to find out what is the truth. And clearly, by default, when you run from a studio and you run from people's calls, you block them, you ask them to recite verses to save themselves after they've been the victims, I think we have a pathological problem here. I must be honest with you. That's what we have. What's your message to South Africans watching the show right now in disbelief? Because before you joined us, there was a barrage of comments and testimonies going on. What's your message to South Africa? We from the show is saying, protect yourself. What do you have to say after you've been on the journey of not being on the journey?
So first and foremost, is use someone that is very reputable, someone which is very well known in the South African industry.
Preferably in your community.
Preferably someone in your community, someone where you can actually go
check up and drive to.
30 minutes away where you can get to.
So you're saying research is important?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, I mean, with us having to fly down, and at this point sitting, you know, we do feel a bit helpless. If we were in Cape Town at the moment, you know, at this moment we have to log criminal charges here in Benoni, and then wait for them to escalate it. So it becomes, just slows down the process.
And also just make sure that you're using the right agent. And to be honest, agents like this should be actually closing the doors down. That's the promise actually made to my wife, that that's what we actually want to do at Umrah Connect.
I want to ask you a frank question, and you can give me your opinion. When we looked at the cases, we now looked at wool fraud, we looked at car rental fraud, and now we're looking at Umrah fraud, and you are tantamount to say that it was daylight robbery. Do you honestly believe that you are talking to a travel agent, or do you think you're talking to a con man that came to you in the guise of a travel agent? What do you think?
The evidence is there. You've highlighted 3 incidents, and so at the end of the day, it only points to one direction, which is a con artist.
Definitely, I agree. It's very sad to say, and it hurts me to think that we've allowed that to come into our home and expose my kids to that. You know, I think that even makes me more emotional, that he conned us, and now if I think back, he was in our home. He was in our home.
I still draw the story, and I feel fearful for the elderly people who, I mean, you're a couple and your money is your money, but at some point I know that you'll muster your forces together and you'll take the kids and you'll go and do what you need to go. But there are couples, elderly couples in their 70s and 80s, they will never be able to do that. And think about this. I mean, a lady once told me that she saved money in a pillowcase. Who saves money in a pillowcase for Umrah? A lady says that she sold items for 14 years and she hasn't go. Who saves money for 14 years? Clearly, she doesn't have another 14 years to go. And therefore, I want to applaud you and say thank you for standing up, because if you don't stand up, with us and help us as media. How are we going to stop the scourge against this community? This is an onslaught. Forget about the international onslaughts. The onslaughts are coming from right inside, and the rot is deep down. That is what it is. Yeah. Guys, thank you for joining me. I hope to catch up with you soon again, and never know, and just continue being strong for everyone else out there. Thank you for joining me. Well, that's Lutfia and Naeem Patel. They tell their story, one of deceit, deception, robbery, fraud, and blatant brazen behaviour. What has concerned me about the Patel's case is the fact that when you look at the Patels, you know that here's a family that has put their money together to go. The children were disappointed, and that's disappointing. So in the other cases, we have an elderly lady that's talking about her money being gone and her not living her dream by going for Hajj and Umrah and the pilgrimage. On the other hand, we have children. My question to many people is, how long will this continue? I'm going to read you some messages that we've got on social media about the same matter. Fatima Mukaddam says that Fasiegh Adams uses his title to steal children's haq, meaning their property, after their parents die. He is conniving, lurks around at hospitals, finding out what is the situation of sick people, and if the family affairs are not well organized, he jumps in as an administrator and administrates the property himself, throws the children out with fake documents, and brings his wives to live in the deceased property. Jainab Lowe says, Fasiegh is doing this for years and he's a stinking crook. Rweda Bauer says, this is nothing new. It's been going on for years, but people don't listen. They continue booking with Fasiegh. He had issues at Tafelsig Mosque a few years ago, and the committee instated him as Imam of the mosque again, and the same thing happened. He was exposed on the radio a few years ago. His lies continue. Rweda Bauer also says that she knows the family well. He has taught some kids and he comes from a good family, but he's the black sheep. Nazir Pasha, who is currently on a trip to India, says that Fasiegh Adams and a colleague of his drafted a false will and robbed children, namely my siblings, of their inheritance, actually walked out of the house with their belongings, claiming it was gifted to him and the fees were due to him. Nazir Motlika says, let the community deal with him and give them an ultimatum. I'm willing to be in the front line of such protests. Faizal Sayed, let these crooks know who we are dealing with. All I can say to you is that the onus is on you. The onus is on you as victims to go to the police station and follow through with those charges. Unfortunately, at times you need to bring your attorney to the fore. It costs money, but at the same time, when we don't do these things, the only thing that I see possible going on here is that the robbing will continue. From us back in the show, thank you for joining us. Goodbye.